Quick story time. So I remember when I was younger, I was working in another name in Oklahoma City, right? And I was working at ITT Tech, or IT, basically. And it's where I was pretty much just, working as an assistant building computers and whatnot, okay? I ain't gonna give y'all the age because y'all might call the feds on me. But anyway, as I was stating, I was working at ITT, and you meet people, you meet coworkers, and I met this chick, right, and we were all cool. I thought she was cool or whatever. I was like a loner. I always stuck to myself because I was out there only to get money for my son because I had a son. Who was staying with my mom and my grandparents back in Cali because they would not let me take my son. Yeah, they kidnapped my son. But anyway, as I was saying, I was working and I met this chick. She was cool, and she was like, "You should really go out with us." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, whatever." And I blew her off. And then she was like, "Again, you should go out with us." Days passed. She asked me again, "You should go out with us." And I'm like, "You know what? This girl seemed to be cool. Whatever. Okay, I'll go out with her." So later on that weekend, I ended up going out with her, right? And this is how it went down. So I was getting all dressed up and everything. I had my little fake ID to get inside the club, as anybody else did back in that era. And she picked me up with some dude, right? And I wasn't really tripping, like, okay, this her dude, whatever. Baby, why is we driving and we driving and we driving and we driving? And then next thing you know, she was like, okay, this where you gonna be at tonight. This where who gonna be at tonight, bitch? And lo and behold, her dude or whoever the nigga was gonna say, "Oh, you didn't tell this bitch?" And I'm like, "What? Tell me, bitch, nigga, you got me fucked up. Y'all can turn this car around and take me back the fuck home now." She was like, "Nah, this what I am, this what I do, this how I make that money I was telling you about, and I thought you was one of them ones to get put on and da 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 da." This bitch was trying to put me on the track. Bitch, yeah, like I said, I had my little punk ass flip cell phone. Y'all better take me home right now before I call the police. You got me fucked up, right? Okay. So lo and behold, I was a bunch of bitches. They dropped me back off at my crib, right? Okay. Here go the ending part. It's a true story though. So that Monday come around and we back at work. So no joke, this bitch is eyeballing me down on the floor, the production floor, looking at me all crazy and shit. And I'm looking at her all crazy and shit, like, "Yeah, bitch, I know what you all about. You a hoe." And she looking at me like, "Yeah, this funny acting bitch." And she, you could tell she was huddling up, talking and whatever. So anyway, that day went. Here comes Friday. So Friday come, they passing out everybody checks back then because direct deposit wasn't really a thing. So they handing out everybody checks and whatnot, and I'm sitting between my gay friend and another chick. And I'm like, "Can y'all watch my stuff? I'm finna go to the bathroom real fast." Why I didn't take my shit, I don't know. But I go to the bathroom and I come back and I'm like, "Where my shit at?" And they like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I had to turn around. I had to go. I got called to do this." Everybody had excuses. And this bitch over here laughing. And I'm like, "What the fuck, bitch? You got my shit." So as I yelled it and said, "Bitch, you got my shit," the manager started coming on the floor because, it's people on the phones. And that was like, "Y'all get in here." And I'm like, "No, she told me I stole my check, da 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 this. I got a son in in California, and da 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 da." And that was like, "You need to come down, we're gonna put the cameras in." And they see the cameras that she was over there by my office, my desk. And that was like, we're not at liberty to check you, but if you got her stuff, just give it. I ain't got her shit. And I'm like, okay, okay, that's all I had. You know what I mean? Back then, it was just a punk ass $600 check, but it was mine, right? So all the managers, people on the floor, they knew what it was. So they all start breaking me off bread. So I ended up leaving work that day, quitting with like $400 in cash, because if I would have not, I would have beat that bitch ass like to the flow. Needless to say, everybody ain't your friend. I learned that at a very, very young age, dealing with people from my hometown. And when I branched out of my hometown and went to Oklahoma City, that was my first encounter with somebody from work. So that's why I don't really have a big circle, because these bitches ain't to be trusted. Bitch trying to put me on the track. The imp. Stay tuned for next story time. Sorry. It's out now.